Have you ever heard something in the ocean that didn't sound like wind, didn't sound like waves, but felt like it was calling you? Out near Montague Island, on the outer edge of Prince William Sound, the sea isn't scenery. It's muscle. It pulls, it drags. It snaps against rock like it's trying to break something loose. The air tastes like salt and iron. The wind doesn't pass by, it goes through you. Rock shelves hide inches beneath the surface. Shallow coves look harmless until the tide drops and turns them into traps. Orcas move through here, people don't. A few miles across the water, buried in dark timber, sits Pigot Bay Cabin. No dock lights, no smoke, just a structure swallowed by forest. That's the kind of place this story belongs to, and it doesn't start the way you think. The man who wanted silence. Caleb Ward didn't come to Montague for adventure. He came because silence felt easier than conversation. Former Coast Guard, divorced, 42, a man who had learned that sometimes being alone hurts less than explaining yourself. The lighthouse gave him routine. Check the lamp, log the weather, watch the horizon. No neighbors, no small talk. On clear mornings, he'd stare toward the direction of Pigot Bay, just trees layered into mountains, that hidden cabin somewhere inside them, proof that humans had tried to live out here once. The quiet felt clean at first, then it started to feel heavy. The cry, late November, storm pushing against the tower, windows rattling in their frames. That's when he heard it.
Low.
Deep, alive. It didn't fade with the wind. He stepped outside. Below the cliff, the cove churned. Then he saw it. A tall black dorsal fin cutting tight circles in shallow water. An orca, alone. That wasn't right. The tide was falling fast. The rock shelf beneath the cove had become a trap. The whale's back brushed the surface too often. If the water dropped further, its own weight would pin it. It surfaced closer, close enough for Caleb to see its eye. And that eye held steady on him. The risk. No rescue boat could reach them in time. So Caleb pulled on his survival suit and climbed down the slick rocks with a flare gun. One slip meant broken bones. He fired the first flare toward deeper water. Red light tore across the dark. The whale paused. He fired again. It shifted slightly. Hope flickered. Then the current hit. The whale slammed sideways against rock. The sound was sickening. Dark blood spread through foam. Caleb's chest tightened. Then the whale made a call, long and layered. From beyond the cove, an answer came back. The pod. Shapes moved in the outer water. Dorsal fins. A pod. They didn't rush blindly. They positioned themselves at the mouth of the cove. Then they began to circle. Faster. Tighter. The water inside the cove began to rise. Not from tide, but from force. They were pushing surge inward. Wave after wave struck the trapped whale. Its body lifted, dropped, lifted again. Another coordinated push. The whale twisted hard. With one violent surge of white water, it cleared the rock shelf. The pod closed around it instantly, and just like that, they were gone, leaving Caleb alone with pounding wind and shaking hands. The return. 3 nights later, under a sky full of cold stars, Caleb heard a slow exhale below the balcony. He looked down. A dorsal fin broke the surface. The same orca, uninjured, free. It circled once beneath the lighthouse, then slipped back into darkness. It returned again the next week, and again after that, not every night. But enough that Caleb began waiting. Some mornings he'd glance toward the direction of Pigot Bay, forest silent and still. Then he'd look down at the water. And sometimes the ocean would breathe back. The storm. Mid-December brought a storm that didn't let up for days. Supply boat delayed, radio fading, generator failing. On the 7th night, the power died, total darkness, and through sheets of spray, Caleb saw navigation lights. A fishing trawler drifting too close to Montague's hidden rock shelves. Without the lighthouse beam, they wouldn't see the danger. He ran to the engine room, hands shaking, fighting frozen fittings and clogged lines. Outside, engines strained against the current. Then the ocean exploded. Orcas surfaced around the trawler's path. Massive splashes, tail slaps, sudden breaches. The fishermen slowed instantly, thinking they'd entered dangerous reef water. That pause bought Caleb seconds. The generator roared back. The lighthouse beam cut through the storm. The trawler corrected course just in time, cleared the rocks by yards. Below the tower, the pod lingered. The once stranded orca surfaced closest to shore, facing the light, still. Caleb stood there in the rotating glow, wind tearing at his jacket. And for the first time in months, he didn't feel alone. The goodbye. Spring softened the sound. Caleb's rotation ended in March. Before boarding the supply boat, he stepped onto the balcony one last time. The water was calm. Far beyond the cove, a dorsal fin broke the surface. Not circling, not approaching, just moving steady through Prince William Sound. Strong, free, heading toward the wild stretch between Montague's cliffs and the silent forests near Pigot Bay Cabin. Caleb watched until it disappeared. Then he turned away from the light. Out here in Montague Island, where tides can trap giants and silence can trap men, a lighthouse keeper once helped an orca. And when he needed help most, the ocean answered.